You can move that microphone how up, down, closer, further. All right. So first thing I'm going to do, ma'am, is swear you in. If you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving in these proceedings will be the truth? Okay. And then for the record, can you please give us your first name and your last name and spell them?
Sure. Michelle Wilson, Michelle Wilson.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Ringle.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi.
You're Ryan Cooper's sister, correct?
That's correct.
Older or younger?
Older.
How much older are you than Ryan?
10 years.
Okay. How are you currently employed?
Yes, I am.
How are you employed?
I am employed by Cooper Farms, Inc. as the accountant, bookkeeper.
So as the accountant for Cooper Farms, what are you doing?
I pay the bills, handle all the bank transactions, payroll, loan payments, expenses, all that kind of thing.
Pretty well familiar then with the structure and finances of Cooper Farms.
Yes.
Could you explain for us what Cooper Farms is? Is that Cooper Farms Incorporated?
It is a corporation. Yep, farm corporation.
Okay. Could you just explain the structure of Cooper Farms?
It is a family farm business. It's been in the family for several generations. We have we own land and farm that with corn and bean crops. We also do some trucking. We also have livestock and invest in livestock as well.
So the different things that you just discussed is obviously some land. There's some cattle, there's trucks, farm equipment as well.
Yep, farm equipment, land.
And is that all owned then by Cooper Farms?
The land is partially owned directly by my father. The farm corporation owns land. The majority, safe to say, all of the equipment is owned by the corporation. There's also a few acreages that are with homes that are owned by my dad as well.
Approximately how many homes?
There's 4 homes.
Would that include 1846 K Avenue, where Ryan and Karina Cooper had been living
yep.
in 2021?
Yep.
We've heard some testimony that Ryan Cooper and Aaron Cooper were farming some land together. Who owned that land, to your knowledge?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, Ryan and Aaron. Are you having difficulty hearing me?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hum from the construction outside that...
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My question was, Ryan and Aaron, we've heard testimony that they were farming some land together.
Uh-huh.
To your knowledge, who owned that land?
My father owns that land.
Based on your position with Cooper Farms, did you have some sense of Ryan's and Karina's finances?
Not necessarily, from observations, but I never was involved directly in preparing tax returns or financial statements or any of that.
And we've heard some testimony that they owned a couple of trucks and maybe 1 or 2 pieces of farm equipment. To your knowledge, did they own anything else, such as farmland, other properties, anything like that?
I had no knowledge of farmland that they would have owned. My brother and I have since become administrators of Ryan's estate, and through that, based on paperwork there was no land, very little, just a couple of small pieces of farm equipment, his vehicle, and some personal assets.
Do you remember the approximate value of, you said, a couple pieces of farm equipment and a couple of personal vehicles, the rough value of those items?
Like the entire estate as a whole, what they valued the assets at, or just...
Those items that I just mentioned.
Yeah. Net with expenses and outstanding loans and whatnot, $200,000.
We've also heard some testimony that Ryan was involved in farming, obviously. We just talked about the fact that he and Aaron were farming some land. You mentioned that trucking was a component of what Cooper Farms does. To your knowledge, was Ryan Cooper involved in trucking?
Yes.
Could you explain that? What did he do?
Cooper Farms owns several semis. He and my brother drove semi whenever it was needed. Ryan drove less frequently than Aaron, but occasionally there would be trips to whole cattle where we need more than one truck. So Ryan also had his own truck. The farm had trucks, but each of the boys had their own truck that they drove. So yes.
Okay, so you did air quotes there.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to follow up on that because that doesn't show up on the record. So Ryan he's doing some trucking for Cooper Farms.
Yep.
And you said he has his own truck. Is it my understanding that truck is owned by Cooper?
It's owned by the corporation, yes.
Okay, so it's owned by Cooper
It's owned by
Farms.
the corporation, but yes, since he did trucking for the corporation, he had a truck that we called Ryan's truck, even though it was owned by the corporation.
Do you know what kinds of trips he was taking and what those trips looked like when he was trucking for Cooper Farms?
They would be local trips, rarely, if virtually to say never, overnight. Would be hauling cattle, maybe 6 hours a day by the time he picked up a load, delivered it, and back. If it was, maybe he's hauling fertilizer, which might be 2 or 3 trips in a day, but all local, all within the state for the most part.
I'm going to ask you to pull that microphone just a little bit closer to you, so I have a little bit of trouble hearing you.
Okay.
So you said sometimes 6 hours a day he might be out.
Yeah.
We already talked about the fact that Cooper Farms owned 1846 K Avenue and some other homes. Did Cooper Farms cover other expenses for Ryan and Karina?
Yes, Cooper Farms paid for usually a portion of their work/personal vehicle because it was used for work. He would not have had any expenses related to property taxes, property insurance, utilities. Also, the corporation paid for the cell phone bill.
When you say the corporation paid for cell phone plans, do you know if the corporation paid for a cell phone for Karina Cooper
Yes.
and a separate cell phone plan for Ryan?
Yes.
Did Cooper Farms maintain business records associated with those cell phone plans?
Yep.
Could you explain that, please?
Just like any other business and any other bill, monthly statements from U.S. Cellular for the farm, which included, my dad, my brothers, their spouses' phones.
So you're receiving billing statements from U.S. Cellular. Does that include what I'm going to call detail information? In other words, incoming, outgoing calls?
Yes.
Phone numbers that those people are calling?
Yes.
Who would have had access to that information if those billing statements are going to Cooper Farms?
The office is in my dad's home, which is across the highway just down the highway from both my brothers. So my dad, my brothers, myself, technically with U.S. Cellular, Ryan and myself were on the account to be able to access with the company to have access to the records.
Were you ever aware of a time that Ryan was looking at Karina's cell phone records?
Yes.
Could you explain?
After Ryan's death, I was in the office cleaning and came across a piece of paper underneath one of the pieces of office equipment. Pulled it out, and it was a page from one of our U.S. Cellular bills. It was a page that included detail from Karina's call logs, and it had a Post-it note on it with the name Huston D written on it, and a phone number. And then it also had a few tick marks near some specific phone numbers on the bill.
You familiar with your brother's handwriting?
Mm-hmm.
May I ask you how you're familiar with it?
All the records and bills that he'd bring me and write notes and whatnot in the office.
Judge, may I approach the witness? You may. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 211. Do you recognize that item?
I do.
What is
That's the paper that I found underneath one of the pieces of equipment in the office when I was cleaning.
And there's a post-it note on there with some handwriting that Ryan Cooper's name.
It is.
Your Honor, at this time, I believe our stipulation of the parties, the state of the
Any objection to 211?
No, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit 211 is admitted.
We've heard some testimony in this case that Huston Danker's phone number is 319-330-1616. What is the number written in Ryan Cooper's handwriting there?
330-1616.
And to your knowledge, is that page from the cell phone billing statement for Karina Cooper's account?
Yes, it is.
And you noted there's some tick marks on there. Do you know what those are? Are those...
I don't recognize the number.
It is not that 33016.
It is, no, it is not that number.
Do you know if Karina Cooper was still on a cell phone plan that was paid for by Cooper Farms at the time of Ryan's death?
She was not.
How do you know that?
Ryan came to the office when I was there one day and told me that they want to make me.
Sustained.
Without telling me anything that anyone else said, was there a time based on the business records of Cooper Farms that you stopped, or Cooper Farms stopped paying for Karina's cell phone plan?
The September 2020 bill had her number removed.
Following that date, then, if I understand correctly, Cooper Farms was no longer receiving billing statements including call detail information for Karina Cooper.
Yep, September 9th was the last.
Could you describe just briefly your relationship with, I'm taking you back to 2021, with Ryan and Karina?
I had not lived on the farm or in the that part of the state for a number of years. So, I mean, we were siblings. We got along fine, but you know, we didn't hang out on a daily basis. Talked on the phone occasionally, but got together for holidays. Did family lake vacations together. It wasn't until my mom passed away that I started doing the work for the farm. And so once we had moved closer at that point, and once I started working with the farm, you know, I would see him weekly at that point.
So you said essentially sometimes the families would vacation together, did you say?
That's correct.
Otherwise holidays and birthdays. If I understand correctly, previously you were not doing the books for Cooper Farms. You said your mother was doing that.
That's correct.
When did you take over?
When my mom passed away in May of 2020.
So at that point, you're seeing Ryan and Karina on a weekly basis.
Ryan mostly, but yeah, Karina occasionally, yeah.
At any point, did you talk to Karina, or did she ever complain to you about money?
I don't think specifically about money. There were some interests that she would like to have pursued, but I think was limited in, from what she would say, you know, the ability to do that based on whether Ryan was in agreement or not.
So if I understand correctly, there were things that, well, strike that. If you could just explain, you stated that there were some things that she wanted to do that Ryan wasn't in agreement with. Could you explain what that means?
There was, say things like remodeling the house or getting a second home. At the time of Ryan's death, he was in the process of having built a larger shop of his own on the property. So through some various conversations, I felt that she maybe wanted a few things done with the house, or, different things done that maybe weren't getting done because of the shop that was being built.
Did she express resentment about that?
I can't say that she specifically expressed resentment with using Ryan's name or anything of that sort.
What did she say to you?
Just alluded to the fact that he was not in agreement with wanting to do the remodeling, or didn't think it was important, or also maybe an additional business that she wanted to start, and he wouldn't support that either.
Was it your understanding that because he didn't support it, it wasn't happening?
Yes.
Testified to some knowledge as the executor of the estate to some items owned by Ryan and Karina Cooper that were valued at approximately $200,000. Do you have knowledge of what happened to those items after Ryan's death?
Yes. There was his truck, his farm vehicle, was sold to Cooper Farms. It was valued at $78,000.
And when you say it was sold for $78,000, what did that transaction look like?
Cooper Farms wrote a check to Karina Cooper for $78,000.
With regard to the other items, do you know what happened to those?
There was another pickup truck, we'll call it more of his work truck, that was sold. Her Navigator was also sold, and she invested in a single vehicle after selling those two.
You stated there was some farm equipment. Do you know what happened to that farm equipment?
He owned half of a hay rake and a baler with a friend of his, and that, my understanding, was sold to the other investor.
Are you aware, based on your position as executor of the state, of the approximate value of these items that were sold in total?
$100,000.
Did you talk to Karina or have a relationship with Karina following Ryan's death?
Yep.
Did she ever talk to you about what occurred on the night of Ryan's death?
No.
Did you find that odd?
Yes.
Why?
I guess putting myself into that situation, I would want to share anything I knew about the event, to be sure that anything I might know to defend myself and any guilt.
Objection, Your Honor, this is improper opinion, relevance.
Sustained.
Infringement of rights.
Judge, may we approach?
You may. So, Ms. Watt, just putting on the record, are you asking that your objection precede the answer?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
The answer be struck.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the answer that was just given by Ms. Wilson, you're to disregard that. It's stricken from the record and not to consider it for any purpose. With that, go ahead, Mr. Ringle.
Thank you, Judge. To your knowledge, following Ryan's death, did Karina Cooper move into another home owned by Cooper Farms?
She did.
Where was that property located?
About a mile from the house that Ryan and Karina lived in prior to his death.
You had stated that there were some businesses or a business that she wanted to open, and Ryan was not supportive of that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Did she talk to you about anything else that she wanted to do that she felt Ryan would not allow her to do?
Some minor things like a second pet, or of course the remodeling, the business, a second lake home,
Following Ryan's death, do you know if she did in fact open that business?
She did.
And do you know where she ran that business out of?
She had 2 different storefronts in Traer, and later took it into her own home and sold online.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Watt, cross-examination?
Thank you. Do you know for certain that this hay rake and baler was sold after Ryan's death?
I do not, but it was used on the farm, and after his death, was not.
So you don't know if Riley Storjohan? You don't know if Riley Storjohan had purchased it? He's the other investor, right?
That is correct.
Okay. But you don't know whether he actually bought out Ryan while Ryan was
I don't know.
And then you're saying that you valued his truck, his work truck is worth about $80,000, right?
That is correct.
And that you paid that money, with $78,000 specifically to Karina.
That's correct.
But in April, I think this is it. Earlier that year, they had done an application to build this shop for Ryan.
Okay.
And so were you aware that there was a $75,000 loan on that car?
According to the estate documents I have, the loan on that vehicle at the time of his death was $15,000.
So I guess you wouldn't have an answer to why.
I was not part of any of their personal finances.
I guess as part of the estate records, would you be able to have anything that would show how the balance goes from $75,000 down to $15,000 within just a couple months on that truck loan?
I don't. I do know the vehicle was very new when the derecho happened in August of 2020, and it was totaled, and it was replaced a few months later, which was approximately 6 months prior to his death. It's entirely possible his farm grain from the crop was used to make a payment on that truck.
So I understand that the phone record that you have with the sticky note on it, you found that in the office at your dad's house?
Yep, that's where the corporate office is.
But it was just the single piece of paper that you found, not like with the rest of the phone record then?
That is correct.
So I imagine you don't know when that got there.
I don't. Sometime between the date of August 20, which is the date of the invoice, and I would guess it was about August of 2021, 3 months after his death, that I found it.
But we don't know when the sticky note got on top of the piece of paper.
You don't.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Mr. Ringle?
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. You're excused.